Hey guys, my name is Sediak and welcome back to another episode of Woodville here in City Skylines 2, which we're now witnessing, boys, a brand new passenger ship, which is now bringing in a few new people to the brand new area that we created in the last episode. And I say brand new area, we got all the infrastructure set up to start working in this vicinity. It's going to be a big area to work with. A lot of infrastructure already being placed in right now with our cargo terminal. We got the train line running down, the passenger terminal right now, all ready to start accepting outside of the region connections. Now, this is going to be a big project we're going to work on right now. Lots of stuff that we've got to do, and it's really, really exciting. So if you're hyped for it, then make sure you smash that like button down below. Subscribe if you are new around here so you get notified when more episodes do come out. But today, I want to plan out more infrastructure. I actually technically don't want to get people moved in just yet. I want to start planning out more of the infrastructure, and I want to expand more of the train lines. Now, we know this station currently has 3 platforms or 3 sides of the station which we can kind of run lines in, and I want to keep them all separate as they go in different directions. We've got the middle line right now which continues up and takes passengers all the way over. I believe it only goes to here. It's the first stop on the looped system. And I want the left side to eventually go into this direction, wherever it may be. I'm not don't understand just yet. And the right side, which is what we're going to work on today, to turn to go through all of these little kind of peninsulas to link up to what would be the straight run coming down here. And that's going to allow me to build a bunch of train stops on each peninsula as we have a bunch of communities as we continue. This area is going to be huge. I can't stress how big it's going to be. But we're going to try and keep it as low density as we can, thus not to grow the population too big. It's not going to be one area. It's going to be a bunch of different towns, settlements, communities, all within the vicinity that will eventually link on and up to the greater region. So let's plan this out then. Now, I want to do the road layout down here. It's going to be really important. But I want there to be a nice focal and feature point where this road turns in as the rail line turns, and I've got to figure out the best way to kind of lead it in. Now, I know it's going to connect up to there, and we're probably going to end up having a station here for a small little settlement, one around here, which accesses all of this, probably one here as well for this little area, definitely have one over here for this little area, and it's going to have a multiple stops with all these little settlements. We can have nice integrated bus routes, maybe even trams, who knows? We just don't even know what we're going to be doing yet, which is the exciting bit, which is going to allow us then to have ultimate connectivity. So I think what we'll do is we'll look around here. We might need to kind of reclaim some of this land, but let me first take a look on how we can set this area up beautifully. So we're going to eventually bend this around. I'm going to kind of bring it in, and I'm going to actually reclaim a little bit of this area here. I'm just going to get rid of the slight little stream, so the land just kind of, the river just ends there. And then we're going to base a little road coming off this, which is going to lead down to our swoopy swoop connection. So everything I now set up is pretty much destined to be how my lines are going to run. Now, do I get it to run directly like that? Because I've got to then bend it to turn down to kind of kick back in again. Yes, I think that might be the answer. So I'm going to run this straight here, and this is now going to predetermine how everything else is now going to connect. Bam. There we go. So what I'll do, I'll make it all look fancy at a later date. I just want to first... Oh, we've got to actually go across. I'm sure this is the... That's where that shipping route runs, right? Am I right in saying that? Or is it a different area? Oh, no, it runs over there. Okay, so what's the issue? I suppose we do need to raise it up a bit. And I could also do it with a bit of anarchy as well. But if I go up by a 5, go across by a 5, back down by a 5, and then cut through. Right? I could turn that there in to this little bridge here. And that's what we've done in many of the other places, and it does kind of look pretty cool, I'm not going to lie. So let me now just run this road coming a little bit further down. And we're going to bring this road coming up. And we've now got to determine where the best idea would be for the bend. So if I was to go for the full send right now, it's a 175. And if I do a 175-ish, that should do me. I want to then try and bend my rail with that bend, if that makes sense. So what I'm going to do is going to go to the trains here. And I'm just going to first figure out, right, how far this is away. So that would be a... If I go right, or if I go to the middle, a 45.2, which I don't know if I'm going to be able to replicate that. A 40, right, we go there. Is that a 45.2? That's a 40. Is that a 45 point? It's a 46. I think, you know what? We'll go with the 46. That wouldn't be too bad. That shouldn't be too bad right now. And let's just bring this now all up to where the bends begin. So for us, that's there. And that's pretty much there as well. So we just want to now implement that bend. Which it might be a little bit easier said than done. Let me just run it to like that. And do you know what? That's not too shabby. That's not too shabby right now. So what I'm going to do next then is I'm going to implement a train station just around here. And this will be the first stop in which we kind of get to. It only needs to be a one train station because it's going to be a rural area. So I'm going to implement it like something like this, the EE one, which is not too shabby. I like it. It's nice and big and juicy and all that kind of jazz. I'll have other road connections that come off as well and main roads leading down. But that's going to lead into there, which now thinking about it, maybe we should have changed the whole approach to the train station because of how far it sticks inwards as opposed to how far that one sticks outwards. I might need to change the bend now, thinking about it. Right, bring this to I'm going to bring that to about there. Oh, am I still on Bendy Wendy? I'm still on Bendy Wendy. Bring you to there. We'll raise this up by... do you reckon 5's going to be enough for this area? So I can keep the whole thing elevated over. If I anarchy it, is it high enough, is the question. And then if I bring it down to earth... Is 5 high enough? I don't feel like it is particularly that high. But I could also upgrade it where it makes this elevate before coming back down to earth. Is that high enough? I don't feel like it's high enough. So what I'll do is I'll delete. And we'll go 7.5, okay? We'll go 7.5. So we'll bring this to here. 7.5. Right, bring it all the way over. And then I'll get rid of you. I'm actually going to get rid of all of this bend again. And then we'll redo it. We'll redo it. So we are a little bit closer on this side, but that's okay. That's okay. Bring you down to earth. And then run you to there. And then bend you all in. Yeah, that works for me. That works for me right now. That's absolutely glorious. So you can kind of see now how we are able to build these areas now up. We're going to obviously allow this to come around and like connect in and bend. I can then do a nice gridded format there, and we've got like a small little neighborhood area. you can kind of see how it's all initially going to come together. Now, with this area, obviously, we'll have like a highway road running down. We'll have bridges going across there as well. I want to try and incorporate the river a bit more because I do want to keep some of the natural features. It adds a little bit of character to the area, but we have a natural train station nearby. We're now going to implement a nice little bend going down, which will then end with a bend going this way. So this is going to be a bit trickier now at this point. So let me just play around with a couple more additional ideas. So we're going to run a road down like this. Or do I do it like... We'll probably do it like that. Right, hold on. To then run a road... And we've got loads of space because that's going to run down and then it will turn in. So then we'll pick a point about there. Right, okay, so what I've got to now do is incorporate some connections here, here, and here, and obviously leading to over here as well. So where would this bend? Now, how far has it got to go to bend? I think we might need to bring this a little bit closer. So bring this to about there. I think we'll go up to 5. And then 5 goes back down. And then bringing you a bit further out, because we're also going to have to incorporate a highway road running down. So we'll make this run a little bit straighter there. And then choose to bend this in. Like that. Right. I'm liking this. This is going to work out fairly well. This is going to work out fairly well, but we're just going to make sure that we get everything all correct. Right, delete there to there to there. Now, I think this is the one that's got the... Oh, no, it's that one. Okay, I keep thinking one of these are the ones that have got the ferry line running through, which, again, ferries is something else we could maybe eventually do in this vicinity. Right, bring you to there. And bring you going down, up by 5. And then back down again to connect in. Now, this could be a whole work in progress, this area. It could be something that will eventually transform. We might have to upgrade it. We might have to implement a highway system running through it. Who knows? But I'm just going to get the spine road through this area in. And then we do all the nice little cutesy bits that kind of connect off it. So we need to get this kind of going across almost straight. I might need to rejig that. It all depends on where the bend is. So the bend's going to be there, which I think is a little bit too close for comfort for me. So I might redo that. And we'll go for it being up here. Like that, right? Yeah, that could be a bit better. That could be a bit better. So let me just see how this now incorporates itself. So up by 5. Down. And then the old bendy Wendy would go 56. That will do. In. And let me just get the little bridge going across. You can kind of tell by like the style of road, the style of the bridges, you know, what the area's kind of going to be like. But I do want these little kind of highway-ish style country lane roads to also run around these areas to give us that capacity. So if I put this centralized, so we know that's going to run going down here, and it will end, and that will kind of like bend up and connect up. And then we just got to now figure out where the rest of our train stations are going to be placed. So we'll stick to the EE ones, and we can definitely have one here. Now, these are going to be small commuter, or do I skip it and have one here instead? Would that be too close with multiple train stations? It services this peninsula. You know what I mean? It does service it. But then because of the size of it, I'll really struggle to get a road leading down around it. So I could kind of like have this one here instead. And then we incorporate one further up here. So let's just say I had this one there, for example. So there's my 3 train stops right now to service this area. They are, if I had one there and then one there, that's too close together, isn't it? I agree with what you're saying, guys. Even though I can't hear you right now, I can read your minds. That'll work out. I probably might eventually move that one further up. I'll probably end up moving that one further up anyway, but that's for a later date when we work more within that vicinity. So, highway road, anyway, let's first look at this. So, we've got you running down, which could be connected off. So, this one could also kind of service this peninsula, but we'll definitely need one coming down this way. And obviously, the train line's going to raise up and then turn. But then I've got to make the decision whether I bring it down here or down there. I think I bring it down here, because we can kind of come off that there. So, that would be an interesting connection, but it's all part of it. This is where we do like the bendy wendies and all that connection jazz. Like that. Yeah, so we know where those are going to run. And that will kind of like turn in slightly and then turn back down and end. That's going to kind of turn in and then turn down. It's going to wiggle like this one wiggles. I really like the idea of it wiggling. Adds a little bit of character. So let's try and continue those wiggles then, boys. So let's turn you. And then what we'll do here is we'll run straight. Run straight. And then a little bit more of a wiggle there. And then it goes underneath, but ultimately it connects here. So that's one nice little connection there, which we could now choose to allow it to. And like I said, I want to do more bends and wiggles, didn't I? So I could kind of turn it to run back down. To run this way, so I run it straight. And end that just there. Yes, that's perfect. Okay, that one works out perfect. So you can see we got these like country lanes that run to the main highway, which is further up there. Now we have the smaller back roads that cut through, but we incorporated a train line on them. And there will be other forms of public transportation. Because it's so heavily watered, this area, we could look towards implementing more ferries that connect through and from. So that could be really interesting to see how that kind of progresses as well. Right, let me turn you. Wiggle, yeah. And end you like that. And then we're going to take this all the way up as well. So bend. And then we'll do a nice little wiggle bend there. Bend you up. And then pass you directly through. So you get the odd little wiggle going in, so it looks a little bit more natural, then ends. Okay, that should work out fairly well for us. That should now work out fairly well for us. So we'll now get the train line all connected into these stations. I think we might finalize this a little bit more. So I might actually delete you. And I did say at some point, right, I'm going to redo this elevated section. So if I just kind of keep it as it is right now, but obviously, let me just pause. Now delete to there. And we're going to redo this little... Oh, hello. We're going to do this, redo this little section. So it connects into here a bit better. So what we'll do is... Alright, get rid of you, get rid of you, get rid of you. Go from there. And then we'll raise this up to a 10. So raise it there. Oh, hang on. I'm not on the straight section. And then it cuts across. And then we need to bring this up to a 10 as well. Which will go there. And then we should be able to bend this in. So that stays nicely elevated. I don't like that little bit there. I don't know whether I could maybe raise this up here. Nah. We'll just kind of upgrade it to be elevated like that. It will do. I mean, the land is kind of all over the place. So, you know, it is what it is. But that, without complaining too much, because you know your boy's going to complain, that should be fine. So, back down to ground. And then, I'm rotating. We're going to run... Am I even connected on this? What's going on? We're going to run that straight. So let me just kind of make that go a little bit longer than it needs to, just so I can figure out where that's going to run. And then, of course, until I've got a better idea for this little bypass, which is going to bypass this whole area on our loop system, we'll just make this naturally connect in the best way we feel like it's going to work. So that's a 188 by a... Yeah, see, that works fine. Keeps the elevated strip in there for now until we work out a better system for it. At least the train lines there are now all connected. So I can put it back into play mode now. Right. Now, let's figure the rest of this out. I wanted to kind of redo this connection now, didn't I? I was going to maybe move the train station a little bit further back. But would it make sense to maybe allow this also to run down for another end section here? That could be a possibility, so I could have that in the back of my mind. Yeah, we could have that in the back of our mind. So what I could do is have this kind of like technically split. But let me just move this road a bit further. Get a little bit more... Oh, I said, what type of road is that? It's the wrong type. That's what it is, boys. And implement you here. So it's a little bit more in, a little bit more further away from that. And then we'll kind of we'll start here anyway. We'll bring you to there. And then that's a 90-ish by a 90-ish. Right, but I'll delete to there. And then we'll go and do a... So a 101 by a 104. And just have that in the back of our heads. If I just put that to there, that we could maybe run something going down. It's just in the back of our heads if you want to. I could also have a little turn just here to make it run that way as well. But you never know. It's just an idea. If I do that little placeholder, it will make me think of something in the future. Right, let's get these now all connected up. And theoretically, we could then run a train line going up to the first station in Sycamore Woods on our loop system. We could eventually have a station here as well around there to kind of work with this area. But I don't have anything going on, but it just makes benefit for people in Sycamore Woods wanting to get down to this new area. And I've got access to all these new little spots, which will be quite interesting. Right, so this is going to become mainly elevated. So 7.5, I'm thinking we keep it at. So if I run that to... So, right, let me start here. And then 7.5. Just so I know where the spacing has to be. And then where's the little bend? There, so 51 by a 55, that works. And then straight down. Right, that does work. I don't like, though, the bumps that it does create. So I can kind of like raise that down slightly. And the rest is glorious for us. I don't mind that little strip there. So that connects there. And then this should again be a fairly easy one too. So it's just a simple case of I could run this across. No dramas right now. Unless I slightly bring it up to like a 5. To go across. To bring it back down to a 0. Because I like the idea of it also running with the road. And if I go 5, and then if I go 7.5 to keep this now elevated. For your boys bend. Which would be around there. Which I can bring it down on the bend. And that stays elevated going over. Maybe we don't have it dip so much here. So instead we just allow it to run naturally from there to there. Right, that train line running through is now all connected up. And it gives us a bunch of focal points to which we can bring traffic to on this train line. And that left turn goes through here. And it will terminate and end and switch back at Sycamore Woods, as that will be the first station coming from that station through here that it touches the looped system. Because then the loop system will take them to wherever they want to go. So let's create a passenger train line now. Which would start here. And obviously it will come all the way through. And it will stop there first. Now, this, from this station here to that station does feel pretty close. But providing it services more, this station services more around here, it makes a little bit more sense. And this services a bit more around here and keep them completely separate. So coming in then, we'll get it to utilize this stop there. And then back it goes. So we'll only need one train for now. It's not going to be busy at all. Not until we've got these middle stations here having an actual reason for people to go to it. So we need to now train lines, which would be train line 7. We need to reduce this down to 1. Also make it free, of course. Make it very, very, very free right now. That's all up and running. So they'll have to go to Sycamore first before they can make their way down. But we have this amazing setup right now, which pretty much allows us to access all this land. Now, what's great about it is, right, we could also kind of complement the train line with ferry line systems, with bus systems, with trams, because it's in the heart of all the river runs, the roads that are going to cross over. But this is not the only road that's going to allow them to cross over. I will have like another one that runs through this way, one further up as well. But not too many. I want them to be able to go horizontal via car. No, sorry, vertical via car and horizontal via public transport, if that makes sense. So we just now got to wait for that train to make its way over here. So this is exciting. I'm kind of really, really excited to see what we can actually do with this. I do want to try and keep it like low density as much as possible. We might have I might have this peninsula here be a bit of high density. But nothing too crazy that it looks completely out of place. You know what I mean? Yeah. Right, let's fast forward then to see that train actually make its way over here. I'm wondering where it's going to come from. It should be a yellow train. I'm not sure where it's going to come from. Where's the train? Ah, it's here. Okay, it's on the way in now. Let's go, boys. Let's go. Let's go right now. So we're witnessing it take its first journey down in this direction. So there's obviously no one here for them to pick up. But we can kind of see how it's going to look and going to feel. Yeah, this is going to be a real interesting area. I'm really excited about this. Very interesting, boys. And of course, it makes its way all the way down to the very end. And that's the main route to Sycamore from this new area. Right, I'm happy with that. I'm very happy, very intrigued with how that is then going to now all unfold. So let's take a look then at doing some of the road layouts within this area. So if I kind of treat this as if it was to be a grid, so we can maximize the neighborhood, this suburb area. But it will all change as soon as you start going around the bend. That's when things will get a little bit more interesting. So run these down first. Just maximize it as much as we can. And then delete the excess. Okay, not bad, not bad. We'll probably use alley roads to kind of go vertically. And then I reckon, what would be the best way to kind of compose all of this together? Let me play around with an alley road first. So I could maybe utilize... So let's just say I come off this one. And I went as far as there. Ended that there. I could then run my little alley road going all the way down. Just kill off you. And then do one around here. Now, do I move it far over, or do I just treat this as the next gap? I think so, but then we'll need to pick another random point, which I don't want it to run too close to all of this. So I'll go there. Right, delete you, delete you, delete you. And then, last but not least, right? To make it all feel as it's connected as one glorious neighborhood. Right, that shouldn't be too bad. Now, we'll implement some walkways. Again, I don't want to get anybody moving in here just yet. I kind of want it all to be, like, legit ready, good to go. So if I ran you down to there as if that would continue, obviously. Running you up that way. And I'm not going to run one there. So the walkways continue where the roads feel like they would have went. That's going to end there. So we'll keep that as it is. That's a nice little kind of a setup. But we also need to create some crossovers to be able to access this area as well. So the road... There's nothing stopping the road from continuing like this. Pushing through. That's the whole point of this area. And we're going to try and get that to ultimately bend round as well. And that might be a little bit more one of those easier said than done moments. So what we're saying about, is it about there or is it about there? It's not particularly there. It's there. That's where the spacing is. So let me just delete you. And I reckon we go from there. And then we're meant to somehow bend this all the way around. I don't know how this is going to play ball. So that's a 240 by a 240. Now that's the kind of bend it into there, but I'm making that width fit this width, and now that doesn't make sense. I'm now realizing that doesn't make sense. So there, let me do that again. So there to there is a 136. So that runs there instead. So you're going to have a bigger gap on this side, which, again, I don't mind in reality. I don't mind it, as long as it visually looks like it makes sense. Right, we'll go to there. And that should pass under the train line, which we'll have to upgrade that a bit more. So let me raise this up a bit. Raise you up. Raise you up. And then we just set this to being a bridge. There we go. That's all we need to do. Maybe push it back a bit with the move it tool. And that works. So we could have that going straight into a connection here. You know, I'm still bridge mode, aren't I? Yeah, let me delete you. We're still bridge mode, boys. That runs into there, and then we utilize our little alleyways then, because these do pass through quite nice to leading in. And that's how we incorporate the whole area. So the dead space between the train line, we could in theory create like a nice little walkable park within this area. So it's not like it's completely wasted or doesn't make much sense. We could turn it into a nice little walkable park. Let's drop that down a little bit more. Road's going to lead over, maybe, he says, maybe. Let's just see how far I can take this next now. So, right, running that down to there. We also want to try and match and mimic where it all runs. And then, again, we can do a nice little perimeter road. I might even actually change how this ends here. So if I was to delete that one, we could inadvertently create a bit of a perimeter road, which we could maybe key wall it. And then we just have this end. Like that. I don't know whether that's too far pushed back. And maybe we should have came in a little bit closer. I feel like that should have been the case. I feel like we should have come in a little bit closer. So I'm going to do that here. That's a complex curve, isn't it? Yeah. I'm going to redo that bend in just a minute. We'll redo this one here. Hold on. Right, there we go. Oh, I don't like that. Alright, there's a little bit of trees. And those here. We'll plant down our own eventually. Yes. Right, that's actually worked out really, really well. And that has worked out really well right now. I'm just hoping those little alleyway style roads don't become too busy, but that sets up the nice little gridded network for us. Actually pretty glorious. We're going to finalize this little section. So we'll bring that as far as here. And we'll take that one to there. As we choose to bend it. Run it straight down. And then, of course, we're going to have to do something with this vicinity. So, if we just come off this. And if I chose to do a little bend. I'll leave it for now. There's definitely something in this area we can kind of work with. There definitely is. But that sets that peninsula up nicely. Now imagine all the other peninsulas being kind of set up very similar to that. And we create public transport that leads everybody to the train station. You can now see how integrated this is going to become. Very walkable, very integrated, very nice. And maybe we then choose to add the odd little cul-de-sac then. Coming off these little areas here. Does that make sense? I don't think it feels right there. We'll do something with it, but I don't quite feel like it feels 100% right. This is going to be a glorious area, boys. We'll start adding stuff in next episode and begin with our first little section. The train line needs to be worked with going off in that direction, which I'm not too sure what we're going to do over there just yet. But this is going to set this area up real nice right now. We've got the train lines all in place. Glorious. Does that actually have any people on the train? 36. So it's very useful. It's very useful for some. Very, very useful for some. What's our unemployment these days? It's 1.5%. Interesting. We're going to provide a lot of... There's nobody living... There's a lot of jobs all here. But no one living over here until we build this up. So this could also cause some traffic issues. I'm hoping that we've got the train lines and the other form of public transport set up correctly. That they don't have to rely on the vehicles, their private transportation, the highways as much. Because the infrastructure around here for highways connections is not great. That's as jazzy as it gets in this area. And that's not great right now. So we'll have to be a bit careful with this. We'll have to see how this pretty much all unfolds. But I'm excited for this. This is going to be very interesting, boys. Very interesting. So, what I'll do, boys, is I'll end it for here right now. I hope you did enjoy this episode. If you did, please smash the like button down below. Subscribe if you are new around here so you do get notified when more episodes do come out. But until next time, I will see you all soon. So, goodbye.